Sam made the decision to end his life just about 11 months ago. He came downstairs about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was away, and Kathy was the only one here, and he gave her a hug, told her he loved her, and they put out a statewide message that Sam was missing and had gone to suicide. We found Sam under a bridge just a few miles from our house, and that's where that ended. Sam growing up, very energetic, always the commanded attention from everybody he was around. Very happy, always had a smile on his face. Generally, everybody loved to have him around. Of course, he was a challenge for us because he was so energetic. But then, as time went on, we started noticing other things, different behaviors. And we got him in to see a psychiatrist, and he ended up being diagnosed with severe OCD and severe anxiety.
Sam's OCD, he had to do everything in increments of 4. He would wake up and he would instantly squeeze his hands 4 times. Then he would tap his feet 4 times on the floor. Then he would walk 8 steps to the bathroom. Then he would spin around 4 times. Then when he went in the bathroom, he would brush his teeth 4 times, 4 times, 4 times, and that's how he had to do it. When he came down the steps, he could only touch 4 steps. He would have to spin around 4 times, then get in his car, turn his keys 4 times. His radio had to be on an increment of 4. So that's just from the minute he woke up until he got in the car. And then he would have to go to school, and he would have to try to listen to the teacher teach with all this counting, like the tiles on the ceiling, the lights on the ceiling, how many desks are in the room, how many people are in this class, how many pencils are on her desk. And if it wasn't an increment of 4, he had to somehow try to justify or correct that or fix it.
And it's like a teapot or a balloon, at some point there's just going to be so much pressure that it has to go and explode somewhere. Into his senior year, it became much more severe, where his behavior was so bad that the teachers didn't want him in the classroom anymore, or the principal didn't know how to handle him. And we eventually got him into the hospital, and he spent 10 days in the hospital, and he ended up getting diagnosed with bipolar disorder at the same time. So now he has 3 major mental health conditions, which makes it difficult because the medication you prescribe for one may cause the other to get worse.
One medication that helped his bipolar, but it made his OCD like a trillion times worse.
So he got introduced to marijuana at some point, and when he smoked the marijuana, he got that instant relief, that instant gratification that he wanted. Again, by his senior year, his conditions were so severe that he was smoking marijuana on a much more regular basis, and he actually developed an addiction to it, where he had tried to stop a couple times and just couldn't stop. And unfortunately, when the mental health conditions, the bipolar messes with your rationality, or your ability to think clearly, and then he was taking drugs on top of that, which interfered with his ability to think clearly. So he started making really bad decisions. 19 years old, when you have a $500 court fine and you have a criminal record, and it's harder for you to get a job or to get an apartment or anything you want to do, I could see where he starts to think that he's ruined his life. It's difficult for us because we've prayed and prayed and prayed 1,000 times, Kathy and I both, to God while Sam was with us. If he could just take Sam's pain away and give it to us, we'd be willing to take on that burden. And that's exactly where we are today. Sam is no longer in pain, and we're happy about that. Now we have to live the burden that he's no longer here, and we have to live with that pain. It's tough because we would obviously we want him to be here with us, but we also don't want him to be suffering like he was suffering on a daily basis either.
Yeah. It seems selfish for us to ask that.
When people look at suicide and think about suicide, they talk about how weak that person must have been.
And how selfish that person is.
How they couldn't make it through life, and they couldn't hack it, so they just ended it. But they don't realize how much pain you actually have to be in
To choose that.
Sam shot himself. And how much, as much as we love life, how much pain must he have been in to be able to be strong enough to pull that trigger? It's overwhelming to think about.
It's tough. It was probably actually just a few days after Sam passed away that we decided that we wanted to try to make beauty from our ashes. Our goal with the foundation is to bring youth mental health first aid training to our community at least once a year. Just last month I became a trainer for that. So we feel like the importance of the youth mental health training is it's much easier to teach someone how to handle something when they're not in a crisis situation. So being able to train, like Brandon said, law enforcement, teachers, even parents, what to watch for before it gets to a crisis situation. So we go tell Sam's story to continue his story and to help people who are listening understand that it's okay that you're not okay.
Moving forward, I mean, we've already accomplished one of our goals, and we were able to get a bill through our Illinois General Assembly over the last year that would require additional mental health awareness and suicide prevention training for law enforcement. Previously, the law enforcement would receive about 4 hours of mental health training in the academy, and it wasn't just a 4-hour block. It was spread among many things like drug abuse and domestic violence and stuff like that. So you got a little bit of mental health issues on each one of those topics. But now, with Sam's bill, which was just passed and signed by the governor of Illinois this year, they're going to be required to get a full 8-hour block of mental health awareness and suicide prevention training in the academy. And then every 3 years they have to retake that training. Whereas previously they can go a 20, 30-year career and never have another class in mental health. So it's really important that they get the training and they get the understanding. And one of the messages, again, we're trying to spread is that just because somebody's acting or behaving badly doesn't mean they're a bad person. And I think it's really important for not only law enforcement but teachers, because over years you start to get desensitized and you just start looking at people as bad people as opposed to recognizing something happened in their life to put them where they are when you're dealing with them. So